So I found some old tactical space marines, and I decided to be silly with their schemes. So first scheme, the Brotherhood of Steel from Fallout. After priming, I cover him in plate mail metal by Army Painter, then did his base in desert yellow. You can also use brown sand by Vallejo. And I painted his Aquila and eyes with electric blue, kind of similar to the Lion Pride from Fallout 3, but then I started thinking, and then I went back over them with Prussian Blue by Vallejo. Kind of like how most Space Marine shoulder trim is different colors depending on company. Maybe like the Lion Pride is the veteran company, and they have the electric blue eyes and Aquila. And then there's the standard second company blue, and then red and orange and white and yada yada. And then for the chapter badge, it's just the Dark Angel pad. I tried glazing on the Prussian blue too, because it already basically is the Brotherhood logo with the wings and the sword. If you're good at cutting with a scalpel, you can swap the sword around, but whatever. Oliver Shade with Dark Tone. I rimmed his bays with Tesseract Glow because nuclear. And instead of a tactical arrow, I used the Knight symbol from Fallout 4 for tactical marines and Primaris intercessors and stuff like that. And after a matte varnish, here he is. And I already did a lore video talking about if the Brotherhood of Steel was in 40k. Brotherhood of Steel is the second founding successor chapter with somewhat disputed origins, with many claiming that they're the successors of the Iron Hands who fought in the Shattered Legion during the Heresy, but many claim they might be related to Dark Angels given their similar heraldry and similar terminology, like the Lion Pride Honor Guard. The chapter spends most of its time as fleet-based on board their flagship the Pridwin, but they do have a homeworld located in the Segmentum Pacificus, an irradiated world known as Maxon, named after the legendary founder, home to their fortress monastery, the Citadel. The chapter specializes in energy weaponry and aerial combat. They have a close relation with the Mechanicus. Due to the chapter's goal of collecting ancient technologies, the chapter is also well known for purging Chaos Warbands, Orcs, and Necrons. Unfortunately, some members of the chapter become renegade marines, known as the Outcast, with one traitor known as Asher falling to Chaos and taking over the Hellforge known as the Pit. They also have a Knight Castellan named Liberty Prime. And for the next scheme, I'm returning to my Native American-inspired Space Marines, the Star Hunters. So I start with an all-over coverage of Khaki by Vallejo, and we go over it with Troll Slayer Orange by Citadel or Lava Orange by Army Painter, referencing Orange Shirt Day, a day of remembrance for Native Americans, and because for some reason there's just no orange Space Marines, we shade it with Gryph-hound Orange contrast paint. Paint the Aquila, shoulder trim, and hands black. For the eye lenses, we painted with turquoise mixed with white by Vallejo. You could also just use light turquoise. Paint a couple areas with Brassy Brass by Vallejo, and then the symbol with demonic yellow. And after a matte varnish, here he is. The Star Hunters are a third founding successor chapter of either the Raven Guard or White Scars. Probably White Scars. They are hot-blooded speed freaks, heavily inspired by the Comanche people of North America, but also kind of broadly just Great Plains natives. The home world is known as Sequoia, known for its hills, but mostly just flat plains. But it's also full of giant monsters, and for a scout marine to graduate to be a full marine, he has to take down at least one by himself, in a gray hunt. For the next scheme, originally I was going to cover him in Iraqi sand, and then paint him kind of like a gingerbread man, but then I started thinking, gingerbread would make more sense for an Imperial Guard, and there always has to be a food scheme in all of this, so I tried thinking, and obviously Jawbreakers for Space Marines, because they have the really hard armor outside and then the gum inside. Plus the Jawbreakers already sound like a 40k name. So instead I covered him entirely in Deck Tan by Vallejo. And much like a Jawbreaker, I just kind of splattered on a bunch of demonic yellow, flat red, and plush and blue, an all over shade of strong tone, and I painted the base with Elemental Bolt, and the smoke coming from the missile he's shooting is Hot Pink by Deco Arts, because it's like bubblegum. I mean, is this scheme really that much worse than a lot of the Road Trader, camo armor? And then for the next scheme, Anasi's Venom. A Space Marine chapter inspired by West African culture, notably Anansi, or Aunt Nancy, a trickster god from West Africa that's also the god of storytelling. So I painted most of their body with heavy violet by Vallejo, and then their arms with black, kind of the inverted Dark Kraken. I painted the inner of their shoulder pad with deck tan. Originally I was going to paint a spider web, but then I realized that is very hard on this scale, so instead I painted a very geometric spider, inspired by the famous kids book. Highlighted the purple with Alien Purple by Army Painter. You appropriate washes, some silver, and after a matte varnish, here she is. I guess like the obvious would be their salamander successors, but I kind of wanted to be something else to be different, maybe Imperial Fist. And then for the next scheme, the Constructors of Devastation. No, they are not the Buzz Lightyear Marines, they are based off of the construction cons from Transformers. I kind of got into the zone of painting this, so I didn't show the individual steps. But it's primarily moot green shaded with striking scorpion green, and the purple is blue violet by Vallejo, or Luxus Purple. And then for their lore, they're like a successor chapter from Unknown Founding and Unknown Lineage. It's suspected Imperial Fist, but due to their pragmatic love of destruction, it's probably actually the Iron Warriors. And their symbol is like two intercrossed sledgehammers. Next scheme, the Preservers of Samedi. I kind of shopped around a couple different ideas for these guys, but essentially these are the voodoo Haitian Space Marines. So grab your Marine, and I covered his entire armor with Squid Pink by Vallejo because there needs to be more pink Space Marines. Add black to the inner shoulder parts, the backpack, the Aquila, and the extra bits. Their chapter symbol is a cross with a skull on top, not to be confused with the Crox Terminatus. The Preservers of Samedi, or Samedi's Preservers, are a successor chapter of the Dark Angels, who have their own unique take on the Imperial cult, which is seen as very heretical from outsiders. But in reality, it's just their interpretation of the same thing, just influenced by their own cultural and spiritual beliefs, that a lot of people just really don't understand. Unfortunately, the chapter has suffered greatly for one reason or another, seemingly cursed. But they do have their own successor chapter that has way better luck than them, the Knights of Kaon, who are similar, but they're more based on New Orleans, Creole, Cajun people. So I did a quarter pattern with blue violet by Vallejo and sick green by Vallejo, and their chapter symbol is a fleur de lis I got from a Sister Battle kit. And yeah, this is the Mardi Gras Marine. And then next up, I decided to do a Ukraine Space Marine. I didn't think of any lore for them yet, so I don't know, they're Cossacks. So we prime them white, and we paint most of the Marine with Prussian blue by Vallejo. Then the yellow areas are Sun Yellow by Vallejo. You can also use Everland Sunset. Highlighted with Demonic Yellow, I tried really hard to do the Rurik coat of arms trident thing on the shoulder, but it kind of looks a little wonk. Kelly Green base because Ukraine is a steppe grassland. Jay Yellow of Seraphim Sepia. And here you go. And next up, because so many people are very weird when it comes to women being Space Marines, I decided to do a very manly Space Marine. With a primer of white, we highlight some areas with Squid Pink, Prussian Blue, highlight with Void Shield Blue, and some white, appropriate shading, and now we have a very manly and to go with them, a pansexual Marine. Grab your Marine, paint some areas with Sunset Red by Vallejo, literally the perfect Barbie pink we want. Base coat the blue areas with whatever, because we're going to go over it with Void Shield Blue. Base coat the yellow areas with Pale Sand, then paint them yellow with Demonic Yellow by Army Painter. Then we throw on our appropriate shades of Seraphim Sepia, Blue Tone, Cairburn Crimson, and here they are. It could have been funny and waited till 10 Chaos Space Marines and say it's for Slaanesh, but whatever. If you liked any of these ideas and color schemes, make sure to smash that like button, share with your friends, comment your own thoughts and opinions, and subscribe if you're new.